How's it going, everyone? The Packers have released their first injury report, and it is a long one. Just to let you know off the bat, there are 21 players on this injury report. I think it's the longest one of the season. And also, before we get into that one, also want to say that Jordan Love has officially been announced as the NFC Offensive Player of the Week. Very deserved, and glad to see he was able to get it. So Jordan Love continuing to kill it. So now on to the injury list. To start off, once again, Jaire Alexander with the shoulder injury was a full participant and is back from the suspension. There was a lot of eyes on him, a lot of questions to Jaire Alexander. And during Jaire's press conference, or I guess mini press conference, where they ask him and interview him questions in his locker room, he sounded pretty remorseful and pretty much said that he was grateful to still be here. He's grateful to be a Packer and can see himself being a Packer going in the future. When asked about any lessons learned from the suspension, he stated that, "I think it was definitely something to learn from. There were definitely things I could have improved upon during that week to help with the communication. Moving forward, that won't happen again." And then also added that, "I think communication is big. It's easy to talk with my guys, but talking with anybody else can be a bit of a challenge. So I've got to be better with that." So he's saying pretty much all the right things. Like I said, he sounded very remorseful. And then a little later on, they also asked how his shoulder was, and he pretty much said his shoulder will not be an issue. Hopefully that's true. Hopefully he's all healed up. He's definitely had a long amount of time to recover for that shoulder injury that does actually seem to have hampered him a bit because he's been playing horribly this season. So it's starting to sound like he's going to be able to suit up, and he's going to be playing this Sunday. And hopefully he can kind of return to old Jaire Alexander before this season, to where he was kind of an all-pro corner and a shutdown corner. Because, yes, Corey Ballentine and Carrington Valentine did very well against the Minnesota Vikings, but having Jaire, his old all-pro self, is going to take us up another notch. So hopefully he does return. He has a good week of practice, and he kind of returns to some old form of his. Moving along, we have Zane Anderson with a knee injury, was a limited participant. He mostly plays special teams and has typically been on the injury list, so not a big impact as of right now, and he'll probably continue to be a limited participant. We'll see. Then Devondre Campbell with that neck injury was a full participant coming back after being out a few weeks, saying he wasn't going to play while injured, and it seems like he's starting to turn the corner. He was a full participant today, which is very great to see. So hopefully that trend continues and we get him back this Sunday. Next up, A.J. Dillon, thumb neck injury, did not participate. I feel like on Wednesdays he's kind of not participated to try to give that thumb a rest. And he hasn't played too many snaps. And granted, Aaron Jones has been killing it, so he hasn't had the need to play many snaps. So this could be kind of like giving him a rest day. We'll see Thursday and Friday what happens. Next, Rudy Ford with a hamstring injury, did not participate. It's a hamstring injury, so we'll see how this week goes. But based off history, he's probably not going to participate this week and probably will be ruled out. But with Darnell Savage coming back and then Jonathan Owens playing next to him, we might be all right. Next up, Elton Jenkins, knee, ankle injury, did not participate. Hasn't pretty much participated any Wednesday. He'll probably return back to practice Thursday. And no real fear. This is just a maintenance day. Next up, Aaron Jones, a knee finger injury, limited participant, has kind of been a limited participant the past few weeks with the same injury, just kind of pacing him and not going full-fledged, but no real fear for him, and he should be good to go. Next up, we have Isaiah McDuffie with a concussion/neck injury, did not participate. Now, he was seen on the side, pretty much on the bike and pedaling through the bike, which is kind of great to see. He wasn't fully taken out of any type of practice, so hopefully he trends in a good way, and we'll see if he'll be able to pass the concussion and his neck injury isn't too bad come Friday. But as of right now, I would say he's more on the doubtful side just because it is in concussion. It was pretty bad. It looked pretty bad on the field when he got injured. So as of right now, I would consider him doubtful, and luckily Devondre Campbell coming a full participant back could help things as well. Next up, Luke Musgrave, still on that 21-day practice window, was a limited participant with that lacerated kidney. We'll see how the week progresses and what the Packers decide to do with him and how he pretty much practices, especially by Friday, and what decision they determine. Next up, Josh Myers with a neck injury, limited participant. Not entirely sure when he suffered that injury. Considering he's a limited participant, he'll probably stay a limited participant and still start this Sunday. I don't think there's any real fear that he won't play, but we'll see how the week progresses. Next up, we have Keyshawn Nixon with a quadricep injury. Limited participant, same thing. No real big news. It doesn't sound like it's a severe injury. It's kind of probably just bothering him a little bit. And he'll probably be a limited participant this entire week, but he should still be good to go Sunday. Jonathan Owens with a knee injury, limited participant. He's had this injury for a few weeks as well, so no real fear on his part. He'll be suiting up as long as there's no setbacks. Next up, Jayden Reed with that chest injury was a limited participant. Glad to see him on the field because they did pull him out that second half after he re-aggravated that chest injury. And I figured it was kind of a precaution, and it's still looking like it was a slight precaution to pull him out. They did have x-rays after the game on Monday, and those turned out to be negative still. And he said he's feeling great, so hopefully that trend continues and we'll have him this Sunday because Jayden Reed on the field with Jordan Love is an amazing 1-2 punch combo. And then potentially Dontavian Wicks and Dobbs and Watson and then Bo Melton and Malik Heath. I can't forget Malik Heath. I won't forget him this time. It's going to be great to have all of our receivers potentially back on the field. Next up, Darnell Savage. Shoulder injury, was a full participant. Should continue to be a full participant, and he'll be good to go. TJ Slayton with that knee foot injury was a limited participant. Did suit up against the Minnesota Vikings and played very well. I feel like he'll just be a limited participant this entire week, but he should still suit up against the Bears, so no real fear that we won't have him, and his presence is very greatly appreciated on the defensive line. Next up, Preston Smith with an ankle injury did not participate. I think this is more of a maintenance kind of day for him, considering, yes, he came out, but he did come back into the game against the Vikings, so I don't think there's any real fear of him missing time against the Bears. I think this is more of a maintenance, kind of give him a slight veteran rest and kind of help that ankle heal a little bit. So more Thursday, and definitely by Friday, we will have a better idea and if we should be scared of him not playing. But as of right now, I don't think there's any fear. Next, Luke Tenuta on that 21-day practice window with an ankle injury was a full participant. I feel like he's still not going to get activated this week. There's no real need for him to be activated considering everyone on the offensive line outside of David Bakhtiari is not hurt or they're going to suit up. So I feel like there's no need for him to actually be activated when we have more pressing needs in other places, but we'll see how that goes. Next up, Quay Walker with the shoulder injury, limited participant. Will be a limited participant this entire week, has had this injury quite a few weeks, but he should be good to go. Next up, Christian Watson with that hamstring injury was a limited participant today. He has finally gotten back on the practice field, and he sounded like he was in high hopes. He's pretty much talked like he's going to be good to go this Sunday. He's going to be suiting up, and he's going to pretty much ball out. So he's had a lot of confidence that he's not going to be held out this game. When asked by Matt LaFleur if he's going to suit up, they said they're going to give him the entire week for Christian Watson to show that he is able to play this Sunday. But all signs kind of point towards Christian Watson playing this Sunday, which is a huge uplift. And leading to the next receiver, Dontavian Wicks, also with a chest injury, limited participant. I feel like he'll be a limited participant, but he should be good to go Sunday, which means we would potentially have all of our wide receivers active for the game against the Bears, and it'll be greatly needed. Christian Watson, like he was starting to come on, he seems to be a second half receiver for us. I don't know what it is about him and that, but he was tearing up the stretch of field. Jayden Reed and Dontavian Wicks kind of doing the short and intermediate stuff. Romeo Dobbs is good for possession catches, although he does have a few drops, which have been kind of concerning, but that's another thing. And then also you have Bo Melton, who's starting to come up and being able to kind of do it all. Like he's kind of done the deep routes, he's done the intermediate, the short, and he's been a great asset for us. So we could have our entire wide receiver crew ready for this game, along with Aaron Jones and potentially A.J. Dillon. And if they decide to, Luke Musgrave gets activated. It could be the first time since week one we've had our entire starting offense actually starting on the field, which is wild because that was against the Bears. And now we're going to end the season against the Bears. Then lastly, we have Emmanuel Wilson with that shoulder injury, was a full participant. he'll probably be a full participant this entire week. If they activate him, will be a little interesting. I feel like if they do, they'll probably release Patrick Taylor because I don't see the need to have 4 running backs. Or if they activate him, it's because of A.J. Dillon. But in that aspect, we'll still have to make a roster move probably. So we'll see a lot come Saturday, what the Packers decide to do, and depending on where A.J. Dillon is, and if they like Patrick Taylor better or Emmanuel Wilson, if they decide to activate Emmanuel Wilson. Now, lastly, there is one more player that I wanted to add to this. Now, he was not on the injury report because they put him on the IR, and that's Samori Toure. He was seen in crutches, and apparently he injured his knee initially on the fumbled punt return. That's when he injured his knee. And then he further injured it when Jordan Love threw a bit of a high ball, and he had to pretty much jump super high to try to go for the ball. And that's when he hurt his knee even more, and that's when his game was done, and that's why they put him on IR. So as of right now, he was seen on crutches. So just a slight update for Samori Toure. Now, looking over at the Bears injury report, nowhere near as long. So this is a very short list. They have quarterback Tyson Bagent with an illness who did not participate, but it's a quarterback. It's not Justin Fields. So no real worry or interest there, honestly. Then Jalen Johnson, their defensive back, shoulder injury, did not participate. Next up for them, Cole Kmet, their tight end, has a knee injury. He suffered this knee injury a couple weeks ago, and then he still suited up in Week 17 against the Falcons. Now, he only played about 13 snaps, and Robert Tonyan got most of the snaps for the Bears. If his health isn't improved or this trend continues for Cole Kmet, we'll probably see a lot more of Robert Tonyan again, but this depends on how Cole Kmet's knee is. So we'll see come Friday if he's participated, how much, but I feel like the way he played last week against the Falcons, we'll probably see a lot more of Tonyan, which kind of hurts because I did like Tonyan for that 1 year, and then he blew his knee out, and he wasn't the same player. But moving on, Darnell Mooney, wide receiver concussion, did not participate. He'll have to go through the concussion protocol, and that's a pretty big hit for them, similar with Cole Kmet, because that's a pretty decent receiver. He's kind of been not as good as I remember in previous years, but he's still a pretty good receiver for them. So we'll see how that goes. DJ Moore was a limited participant with an ankle injury. I don't think there's any real fear that he's actually going to miss a game. They're just maintenance time. So he's a limited participant, but unfortunately no real fear, so we'll be seeing him. Then lastly, their long snapper, Patrick Scales, with a foot injury, did not participate. And that about wraps up this super long injury report. Like I said, 21 players. It's probably the longest injury report this year thus far. But luckily, only 5 players did not participate, and it looks like reinforcements are coming back with Christian Watson and Devondre Campbell being able to practice, Jayden Reed being able to practice, because there was definitely a lot of doubt initially if he would even be able to play this Sunday. So him being able to practice today is actually a great sign for us. But let me know what you think down in the comments. If you liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and as always, go Pack Go.